Jumanji is a three-movie franchise based on a picture book with the same name, released in 1981, with the first movie being made in 1995, the second in 2017, and the most recent one in 2019. There was also an animated TV show, but we don't talk about that show here.
A game for those who seek to find a way to leave their world behind. Cool beans!
Upon release, the first Jumanji movie did well, making $11 million on opening weekend, overtaking Pixar's Toy Story. The cast wasn't too crazy with the likes of Robin Williams and Kirsten Dunst, but apart from that, no one too famous. It felt like something original, a one-time film that was sweet on its own, and it didn't need a sequel, so they didn't make one. Until they did. In 2017, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle was released, completely reworking the style of Jumanji from board game to a video game, because board games are so last year. We're cool and we play video games because that's what all the cool kids play nowadays. Unlike the original, all of the main cast are big names: Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, Jack Black, and Nick Jonas. In the first film, the animals come out of the game and into the real world, with only Robin Williams' character, Alan Parrish, actually getting sucked into the game with the world inside never being shown. In Welcome to the Jungle, however, the main four kids all get sucked in and we follow them, and although it's another Jumanji movie, you can absolutely watch this one without watching the 1995 one and still understand pretty much everything. Apart from when they do mention Alan Parrish in one scene, but it's just for reference purposes and has no real connection to the plot. It's a completely different movie that still follows this old game called Jumanji. This movie did much better than the first one, making $36 million on opening weekend. And once Sony realised Jumanji can make money, there was only one suitable option. Jumanji The Next Level came out in 2019 and has absolutely no reference to the OG 1995 movie, but it does extend the world of Jumanji much further. The first two movies have Jumanji be centred in a tropical jungle environment, and there are a few scenes in this movie set in a jungle, but most of it is in either a desert or in snowy mountains. This movie has an even more packed cast, with Danny DeVito as one of the main characters. It also did the best out of the three by far, making $60 million on opening weekend, more than the first two combined, and in my opinion, that's fair, as this is my favourite movie of the three. But with the fourth movie having been in development for nearly 5 years, Jumanji fans are left with nothing other than these three films to watch. Or, literally any other jungle film starring Dwayne Johnson, because boy does he like a jungle film. And it leaves them to wonder, what actually is Jumanji? Who made the board game? Where did it come from? And how on earth is this guy an actual character? To start this investigation, we have to go all the way back to 1981. A children's picture book titled Jumanji is released by American author Chris Van Allsburg. The book is about two kids, Judy and Peter Shepard, who find an old board game in a park. The pair quickly discover that this game is strange, and whatever they land on comes to life. For example, when Peter lands on a lion appears. They try to beat the game, hoping that doing so would undo what they caused. Judy wins the game and shouts Jumanji, making everything disappear. It's a fun little book that has no harm to it. It's short, it's sweet, but it doesn't really help our investigation as to what Jumanji is. But it does beg the question, is the Jumanji in the book the same Jumanji in the films? Because obviously the two are in different universes, but is the Jumanji different? Or is Jumanji a pocket space between all universes within the multiverse, pulling players from every universe? But that's a question for another time. As I said in the intro, the first Jumanji came out in 1995, starring Robin Williams and Bonnie Hunt, with Kirsten Dunst and Bradley Pierce playing Judy and Peter Shepard. The movie starts in 1869, showing two boys chucking the game into a hole and then burying it. This really helps our investigation, as it shows that Jumanji is over 100 years old, and makes you wonder if this little box is indestructible. This can be backed up in The Next Level, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. The movie then cuts to 100 years later, where we meet a young Alan Parrish getting beaten up. After his massive loss of aura, he then just walks inside an active building site and no one cares? Seriously, what is this movie? He then finds the game and takes it home. Oh yeah, by the way, his parents are super rich and don't really care about him, so that's cool. This girl named Sarah comes over and Alan shows the game to her. They roll a few times, causing Alan to get sucked into the game. So yeah, this board game ain't all it seems to be. Then we jump even further forward in time to 1995. The big house is all old and stuff, and the Shepherd family have just moved in. The two kids, Judy and Peter Shepherd, find the game and start playing. They spawn some bugs and some monkeys in the kitchen with just the most terrifying faces. I mean, this is the stuff of nightmares. A lion comes and almost kills them, but they're saved by... That's right, Mrs. Doubtfire. Hang on, that's not right. Oh, right, sorry. Alan Parrish, finally, after 26 years of being trapped in the game, he's out. Mr. Margarita over here has nothing on this guy. Also, side note, this bit is just so funny. I don't know why I find it so funny, I just do. Just watch.
Somebody roll a 5 or an 8.
He did.
But, obviously, because he's been in a jungle since 1969, he doesn't really know much about the modern technologies of 1995. Like, let's see, Windows 95, that's new, and, phones the size of my I mean, pretty big phones, so, that's kind of cool. Alan goes to his dad's old business, and he finds out that his parents did actually care about him, and that they died a few years back. We also find out that the Shepherd's parents died too, after trying to negotiate peace in the Middle East. Like, I'm not even joking.
This is a real movie.
Alan gets a haircut and goes looking for Sarah because it's her turn to play, and apparently he just knows where she lives after 26 years, so they find her pretty easily. They take Sarah back home and they continue to play, causing some vines to grow, then a big plant that tries to eat them. Peter turns into a monkey, Alan nearly gets killed by Craven the Hunter, then they beat the game, and Alan and Sarah go back to 1969 where they're little kids again. Alan makes up with his dad, they dump the game on a beach, and that's pretty much where the movie ends. Now, this is a pretty good movie, but apart from the scene in 1869 at the start, it doesn't give us much to work with other than the fact that it's clearly magic. Also, imagine how annoying it will be to go from like a 30-year-old all the way back to a 12-year-old. You have to go through middle school, high school, and university all over again, and they will not date anyone until they're 18, because even though they're kids, their minds are not, and dating someone like that will be problematic. But we still have 2 more films to get through, so let's move on. Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle was released on the 20th of December 2017, 22 years after the first one, and let me tell you, it is nothing like it. I think what probably happened was something like this. Okay, so I have this movie about 4 kids who get sucked inside a video game and need to find their way out. Yeah, it's decent, but I don't think we can make too much money off of it. Hey, what about that old Jumanji movie? Let's make it a sequel to that, why not? Oh, milking movies that did well so we can make more money is tight. The movie starts right where the first one left off, showing the board game on the beach. This guy picks it up and takes it home. He shows it to, I'm assuming, his brother, who's called Alex. Alex doesn't care because he's a teenager, and he only plays video games and moans that his loving parents don't care about him. But oh no, spooky green light, and now it's a Nintendo game. This part is really interesting because not only does it tell us that the game can hear you, it is actively doing everything in its power to get people to play it. It will completely change its form just so that someone will play it. So Alex gets sucked into the game and we cut to 2017 where we meet Spencer. Now Spencer is a lot like Alex in that he plays video games and has loads of posters in his room, including this huge one of Uncharted right front of centre. Yeah, okay Sony, I see you showing off your intellectual property. But in Alex's time, all that was cool. And let me tell you this, Spencer is not cool. For one thing, his name is Spencer. Like, who names their kid Spencer? We also meet this guy Fridge. Now, Fridge isn't actually his name, it's Anthony, but everyone calls him Fridge, so I will too. And let me tell you, Fridge is cool. He's on the football team. Not real football, that fake one they have in America. He has girls driving to school. He's got it all planned out. But his grades aren't great, and if he fails this next essay, he's getting kicked off the team. So he got Spencer to write it for him because they used to be friends until Fridge got too cool to hang out with Spencer. They meet up at this old creepy house to give Fridge the essay, and then they go their separate ways to go to school. We also meet this girl, Bethany. Now, her entire personality is based around Instagram. She's always on her phone and doesn't really care about anything. We then meet Martha, who is basically the complete opposite of Bethany and kind of annoying at first, honestly.
I think it's pointless. Gym class is not going to get me into Princeton, and I don't understand the obsession with throwing a ball into a hoop and, oh, touchdown, 5 points. Fun. That's what we're doing here? Fun? This is school. We are supposed to be learning things that actually matter. Okay. You don't have a lot of time in this life, and I personally don't want to waste it on being like a gym teacher. It came out wrong.
So they all get detention. Bethany for going on her phone in class, Spencer and Fridge because of the whole Spencer writing his essay for him, and Martha for... yeah.
Fun?
Their detention is in the basement of the school, and that's where they find Jumanji, still in the NES. Why is it in the school now? I don't know, doesn't matter. They turn it on and all get sucked in, just like Alan Parrish in the first movie, but with just so much better CGI, and find themselves in Jumanji as the characters that they chose. So Spencer is now strong and brave, Martha is now agile, Fridge has a deadly allergy to cake, and Bethany is a man. Can I just mention, there is one female character in this game, and this is her outfit? Come on, Jumanji, it's the 21st century, do better. Bethany gets eaten by a hippo, and they escape with this NPC guy called Nigel. Nope, not that Nigel. Yep, that Nigel, yep. He tells them that this guy stole a jewel and cursed the land and that they need to return it. He gives them the jewel that he stole off Big Bad Guy and sends them on their way. They also find out that they have strengths and weaknesses. Like Spencer has strengths such as boomerang and smouldering intensely, and literally no weakness. Bethany is good at all the ologies, Martha doesn't like that one Spider-Man villain, and Fridge, yeah.
Hey, it's all good.
Then they get chased by some dudes, which leads them to discover that they each have 3 lives, and if you lose all your lives, you die. They go to a village and meet Alex, that guy from 1996, but he still thinks it is 1996, so shh. He takes them to a hideout, which is actually Alan Parrish's hideout from all those years ago. Alex tells the kids that they need to steal a helicopter from this hangar-type place, but he lost both his lives trying, so he gave up. They tell him he's been gone for 20 years, which is now 29 years because 2016 was 9... What? 2016 was 9 years ago. As I was saying, they tell him he's been gone for 20 years, and it gives him a confidence boost to try it again. They succeed, Martha and Spencer attempt to kiss, and through a series of wacky shenanigans, they make it home to find that the old creepy house is no longer old and creepy, because Alex was sent back to 1996 and didn't ever go missing. So this Alex experienced the entire film 20 years ago, and he's meeting the kids who have just done it. Then they destroy the game with a bowling ball, and that's the movie. Now, the first movie was pretty good, not gonna lie, but this one is so much better, in my opinion. And I know what I said about the big names, but it's not really for money purposes. It's more to have the audience laugh at huge celebrities acting like teenagers, especially Jack Black playing a teenage girl. And it also gives us some more info. From the opening scene of the first film, we know that this game has been around for over 100 years, and in this film we have cars and motorbikes and helicopters, which proves to us that time passes in Jumanji similar to how time passes in reality. So we have quite a bit to work with now, but we still have one more film left, so let's not waste any more time and watch it. Jumanji The Next Level was released on the 13th of December 2019 and is the most recent Jumanji movie yet. We start off with our 4 heroes planning to meet up after having gone their separate ways after high school. But Spencer didn't reply on the group chat because he's that one guy in every group chat who doesn't message because they think it makes them dark and mysterious, when in reality it just makes people forget you're even on the group chat in the first place. Sorry. Anyway, Spencer's been feeling a bit down lately because he doesn't like how strong or handsome he is compared to someone like Dr. Braystone, the character he was in the previous film. But he does go back to his hometown to find his granddad is here, played by none other than Danny DeVito himself. And this is the first time the modern Jumanji films have had a big name being used for a character outside of the game, which is kind of cool, but also a bit weird, because he's right at the start and right at the end. And you think for someone like Danny DeVito, there'd be more of him, but no. We got Awkwafina instead. But to be fair, the biggest complaint people have about Awkwafina is her sort of gravelly voice. But especially as for most of the time she's on screen, she's playing an old man from New York, her voice kind of works. So I ain't complaining. Anyway, as I was saying, Spencer's been having a bit of an identity crisis, so what's the most obvious solution? What's that? Therapy? No, fuck that. I'm going to rebuild the game that nearly killed us before and send myself back. The other three figure out where he went and go with him, but because it's still kinda busted, they get sent there before they even pick their characters, which means Fridge goes inside of Jack Black, and Bethany doesn't even get sucked in. Who does get sucked in, though, is Spencer's granddad, Eddie, and his friend-turned-enemy, Milo. Now, Eddie and Milo used to run a cafe together, but after some arguments, they fell out and never spoke again. They're basically Oasis, but Milo's trying to get back in touch with Eddie because he's dying and wants to make up before he goes, which is kind of deep for a movie about some kids getting sucked into a video game. So now Eddie is Dwayne Johnson, Milo is Kevin Hart, Fridge is Jack Black, and Martha is still Karen Gillan because she's the most boring character ever and she has nothing going for her. And just like the previous film, the hippo attacks them and Naughty Nigel, because that's what I'm calling him from now on, saves them, but this time in a helicopter. But because Eddie and Milo are old men, they have no idea what's going on, like, all the time. Also, Milo talks really slowly, which gets them into some sticky situations quite a lot of the time. Just take a look at these two clips.
That was a hippo. They're omnivorous. They're as fast as a horse over short distances, and they have the bite force of 8,100 newtons. How do I know this?
That there was a hippopotamus. And they are awfully fast. Faster than a horse, if you can believe that. And they've got an awful ferocious bite. How about that?
Naughty Nigel tells them about a guy that took a different jewel that gives Jumanji plant life and tells them that the plants are dying. He then drops them off in a desert this time and they get attacked by some ostriches, but make out safely. Meanwhile, Bethany is still in the real world, so she goes to Alex for help. They find their way in and try to find the others, but there's just one problem. Bethany is a horse. I mean, literally, I'm not saying she's ugly, let's just move on. The gang go to this desert town where they find Spencer losing his first life. They meet up, Spencer gets annoyed that they followed him, they get annoyed that Spencer went in the first place, but then they all make up. But not before Eddie causes a massacre, so they get some camels and go. Oh, and by the way, there's new stuff to the strengths and weaknesses. Most importantly, Kevin Hart's character, Mouse Finbar, now can talk to animals. They ride the camels to this jungle bridge place where they deal with some monkeys, then they go to a snowy mountain where they find Bethany and Alex, as well as a lake that swaps bodies. So they all jump in and are now back to normal, with Eddie as Awkwafina's character and Milo as the horse. They stop the big bad guy, take the jewel and leave. But wait, the horse character can now grow wings, and it also stops Milo from dying, so he stays in the game. And that's that for all three Jumanji movies. Like I said, I definitely think the next level is the best one, but all three very enjoyable movies. But now we have all the info we need to come up with a conclusion. From what I gathered, Jumanji is a dimension that thrives on people playing the game. It would make sense that when no one is playing, Jumanji simply doesn't exist. And it needs to exist to, well, exist. So it brings people in. It changes its form from a board game to a video game. It needs someone to play. I can also safely say that the game itself is indestructible because they literally dropped a bowling ball on it and it still worked. So if we think of the physical game as a sort of key to the actual Jumanji, similar to the music box in Amphibia, then Jumanji would need it to not be able to break, or else it would never exist again. As for where it came from, well, there's no evidence for that anywhere, but I can reckon we can say it wasn't made by a human, and I believe it slowly just formed itself. The key would change as time passes to get people to play, maybe from whatever was popular in the 1600s and 1700s, to a board game for the 18 and 1900s, and then to a video game. Jumanji is its own thing, and nothing can destroy it. The only way to get rid of it is to never play it again. But that's what the kids did in 1869, and it got uncovered 100 years later. So is there really a way to get rid of it? Or will it always find a way to be in someone's hands, ready to open the box? Thank you very much for watching. As you can probably tell, this is my first video on this channel, so if you liked it, be sure to subscribe for more videos like this. But for now, I'll see you in the next one.